Well, as we wave farewell to the month of July, it is a hot and sticky one across the southern half of the UK, while up here across the north, we're back into autumnal mode once again. Thanks for clicking on to the Wednesday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. These are the CDAS zero point 0.5 temperature anomalies as of the 31st of July, and we will wind up cooler than average across the UK and Ireland, just like we did in June, and it is a while since we've had back-to-back June and July's below average across the UK and Ireland. We may have to go all the way back to 2015, the last time that has happened. We have warmed things up across Iberia after what has been a cool summer up until the last few weeks anyway, and even across France we are still winding up slightly below average despite upper 30s and a hot situation for the Olympics. We will see the gradual decrease in temperature even across southern portions of the British Isles over the next few days. But these are the current temperatures at as of just before 4:30 in the afternoon on the 31st of July. We've got the temperatures in and around 40 across parts of Iberia, upper 30s across southern France, central France, and we've got slightly fresher conditions. I say fresher, it's still in the low 30s, but not quite as warm as it was yesterday afternoon. The reason for that actually is that we have got some thunderstorms in the area around Paris. We've seen some very lively downpours and convection. You can see here, this is off sat24.com. You can see the blow up of convection over northern portions of France. Further south, we've got plenty of sunshine to speak about, and as well as that across the majority of Spain and Portugal. Looking specifically at the British Isles here, we may have a few thunderstorms blowing up, but generally speaking, it is another decent day. We are starting to see cloud cover fill in here across northern Scotland, and that is going to start to be the sign of things to come as we go through the next few days. And we need to watch this thunderstorm activity over northern France. We may see that creeping across the channel in the southern counties of England as we progress through this evening. So, yeah, something to watch. Looking at the lightning activity currently off lightningmaps.org, you can see here plenty of thunderstorm activity across parts of France at the moment. Eastern France extending into Switzerland. We've got a lot of thunderstorm activity over central Switzerland, southern portions of Germany as well, northwestern Italy. We're seeing plenty of thunderstorms as well, and it looks as if we are high and dry across the UK and Ireland here. But certainly this area, this line of convection here to the northwest of France, we need to watch that later on this evening. That may have an issue as it crosses potentially over the channel. So in terms of the Manjulian oscillation here at the moment, we do have a phase 5 and 6. That is promoting this hot end of the month of July, but it is expected to rotate in the phases 7, 8 and 1. And that may suggest later down the road the return of the same that we've had so far during the majority of summer. This is an interesting 3-part tweet here by Christian based in Europe. Situation still blocked in Europe with the south under a strong heat dome, the south being Europe, while the north with rains and almost autumnal temperatures here. So you can see here that we have got this negative over northern. I know it's hard to see, I do apologise for that, but we've got quite a strong negative here. This is incorporating at least the first half of August. Deep negative over northern Europe. We've got a ridge over the south of Europe here. Very classic textbook August pattern, may I add. And it looks as if we're going to see the 500 millibar HPA anomaly here, trough to the north, ridge to the south. This tweet going back to the 27th of July here, he says the situation that will remain unchanged until about mid-August. The AAM and the NAO positive with an MJO in phases 8, 1 and 2, an increase in the ITCZ without atmospheric forcing, which we haven't really seen so far this summer, and that's been a problem here. We've not seen any forcing from out with to change and give the atmosphere that kick, so therefore we've kind of returned to a default setting, which has been negative over northwestern Europe, positive over the southeast of Europe. That positive has now progressed towards Iberia here, and it looks as if we're going to have the trough to the north, ridge to the south type situation through a good part of August, until we start to see the tropics kick in, and we'll start to see movement within the tropics, both in terms of the MJO and the development of systems. We are going to struggle to break this cycle, this repeat cycle that we've been in for so long. Without atmospheric force, this situation that sees very hot in the Mediterranean and almost autumn in Northern Europe will continue. So yeah, there you go. In terms of the UK current temperatures, this is the current profile here. So we've got the much fresher conditions across the north, 15 to 17 Celsius quite widely, 21 at Aviemore. We've got the upper teens to around 20 Celsius in the central belt. And then as you go further south here, looks as if the hottest conditions is actually over the western side of southern England here, towards the Bristol area, Gloucestershire, for example, Worcestershire. Looks as if we've got the hottest conditions in and around the 30 Celsius mark. I think it will hit 32 Celsius at Kew Gardens and Heathrow Airport yesterday afternoon, the hottest day of the year so far for the British Isles. No surprise there. And this is the breakdown as we move towards Friday. You can see here an area of fairly deep low pressure for the time of the year, at around 975 millibars to the northwest of the British Isles. That is going to send a series of frontal systems in from the Atlantic, and what that will do is it's going to clean the atmosphere out. These are the 850 temperatures by the time we reach 15 UTC on Saturday, so much fresher air getting swept in. That will be a welcome relief, I'm sure, for many folks. Looking at the overview over the next few days here, you can see that we play through this loop. High pressure gets eventually weakened in place. We're watching that area of thunderstorm activity. We've got a weak low within the atmosphere, an embedded feature. That is going to be the trigger point to some lively showers and thunderstorms, even into the southeast of the UK during this evening and overnight tonight. That is going to act as a trigger point. And of course, with very, very warm, juicy air in the low levels of the atmosphere, that just allows the lift and the development of some beefy thunderstorms. We are going to see downpours that may dump a month's worth of rain within a very short space of time. So you can see here the breakdown starting to take place as we move into the weekend here. You can see here one frontal system moving through, showers, thunderstorms, etc., etc. Then we're starting to see the fresher conditions moving in. We're going to see winds picking up in the northwest here, some fairly gusty conditions in the northwest, but the fresher, cleaner air is moving in with a fairly showery flow to speak about as well. And eventually we're going to start to see that air getting cleaned out within all areas of the British Isles. Then as we move through the second half of the weekend, we start to see this kind of series of fronts and systems moving in from the west of the Atlantic, and essentially we're back to square one again in terms of the overall pattern. But I'm sure folks in the south of the UK will be happy about that. Interesting tweet here by Sean Batty of STV. Astonishing low temperatures for this late in July. Bishopton, Renfrewshire has set a new record. This was this morning of 5.1, beating the previous record set in 2001 with 5.3 Celsius. Tullochbridge and Tyndrum were coldest at 1.7 Celsius. Now, temperatures close to freezing in rural areas, especially in the Highlands or even the southern uplands, isn't overly unusual, but nonetheless, a 5.1 in relatively urban Bishopton is quite an impressive temperature for the latter half of July. In stark contrast, we had temperatures holding at around 20 Celsius through the overnight period. Kew Gardens dropping barely to only 19 Celsius here. Both Manston and Langdon at 18. We had a 19 at the southern coast of the Isle of Wight, and Swanage only dropped to 20 Celsius. So it looks as if we may have had an official tropical night last night, despite having temperatures close to freezing up in the northern half of the UK here. So impressive contrasts. This is the ECMWF ensemble, by the way. Look at this for the next 30 days. So this is the period 30th of July through the 29th of August. This is mean sea level pressure. And look at the deep negative here, extended from northern UK up towards Iceland. That is not a particularly warm look for the next 30 days. This is looking at Europe close up. So there you go. Quite a deep negative to the north and lower heights to the south. But remember, there is strong mid and upper level high pressure. That lower pressure at the surface is actually due to hot temperatures, which lowers the pressure over land. Looking at precipitation for the next 30 days here, and you can see the dry south, wet north look. So that's a very, very classic overall look indeed. Looking at temperature anomalies here, do I want to look at this? You can see a cool north, warm south scenario. So that's it for today. Like, share, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. And I'll be back again tomorrow with a look at the weekly breakdown and over the course of the weekend, how we're going to see this breakdown evolve. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Bye for now.